Hello and welcome to the presentation from the JLT AGM 2022. My name is Per Holmberg and I'm CEO at JLT. In my presentation, I will give a short introduction to JLT and of course also reflect on the past year, 2021, and give a little bit of insight in what's going on at JLT right now. So if you have read the annual report, you'll see that we ended 2021 strongly, and it was a very nice recovery from the previous year, which was characterized by the pandemic and other challenges. We had a very nice order intake, and in particular in the in the last quarter of 2021, the order intake was very strong, and glad to report that the business has continued well in the first quarter of 2022. Strong order intake at the end of last year means that we have a very good order backlog into 2022. We also have several new products in the market, and we have established a sales office for the French market, and I will talk more about all these things in my presentation here today. Of course, we have also been managing about the very challenging component shortage that exists globally in the marketplace right now. It has been a big challenge for us over the past year, and it continues to be a big challenge for us moving forward. So just briefly about JLT Mobile Computers and who we are. So JLT is a very global tech company, although we have our headquarters in Växjö in Sweden. We develop market-leading rugged vehicle mount computers. In fact, if you ask me or my sales team, we develop the best vehicle mount rugged computer in the market, period. And we have more than 30 years of experience. We are on the 6th product generation right now. We have our own development team in Växjö, and we also do manufacturing in Sweden in a town called Ronneby, which is about an hour drive from the headquarters. Since start, we delivered over 120 computers, which makes JLT the largest PC manufacturer in Sweden. Our business idea is to help customers to streamline their operations by providing very reliable IT solutions that are functioning in the most challenging environments. The biggest segment that we're operating in today is warehousing, and here our products are typically mounted on a forklift or on a trolley or similar, running the warehouse management system, meaning the interface between the operator that are working in the warehouse and the ERP or the business system on the back end. Other common areas are manufacturing, transportation, ports, which is also a significant segment for JLT, mining and mining operations, and I don't think it's too hard to imagine that those environments are very, very challenging and very tough. And agriculture is the 6th segment that we are focusing on right now. We are headquartered in Växjö in Sweden. It's part of the southern part of Sweden, and we have a small sales office in Stockholm. We also have offices in Europe. Now, since January this year, we are also have a subsidiary in France, and we have a larger subsidiary in the US, in Chandler, Arizona, that covers the US market for us. And the US market has typically been just a little shy of half of the revenue for JLT. But last year was a really strong year for the US organization, and the US market today represents 60% of the total revenue. 20% in the Nordics and another 20% in the rest of Europe, basically. We reach our customers mainly through a network of independent sales partners and resellers, systems integrators, and other types of companies that help us to provide a more complete solution to the end customer. That's typically how we reach our customers. Reliability and flexibility are our core values. That's typically the unique selling points that make us win, especially the large deals when we are up against the big competitors. We know that the difference is really in the details. That's why we have decided to have our own in-house development team in Växjö. And we also keep production close to our core. With own resources, we can have full control from development to manufacturing and the delivery to the customer. And that's how we achieve the best possible quality. And quality and reliability and performance are really the key reasons for customers to choose JLT in the first place. But the other benefit for us to have our own resources in-house is that will allow us to adapt our solution to specific customer needs. And I would say that we do a better job doing so than any of our competitors out there. So it has also become a unique selling point for JLT. Our growth strategy consists of 3 legs, I would say. The company started in 1994, and product development has been at the heart of the company since then. In 2010, we decided to focus more on the sales channel and providing a stronger solution to the customers. And then lately, around 2018, we started an initiative to grow the services component of our offering, and recently also started a software development company to support this part of the strategy. And that's how we plan to continue to grow the company in the future. If I reflect on 2021, I must say I'm very proud of what we as a team have been able to accomplish. We launched a new Android-based vehicle mount computer, and I will talk more about that in my next slide here. We established the software development company, a subsidiary called JLT Software Solutions, and I will talk more about that as well. We started up our new test facility at the headquarters here in Växjö. With the test lab, we are able to not only test our computers and the products before they are going into production and being sent to the customers, but we can also quickly evaluate new design ideas, new components, and it has really helped the development team to accelerate the whole development process to achieve best possible quality. And we started the acquisition of our new wholly owned French subsidiary, JLT Mobile Computers France, and I will talk a little bit more about that as well. In parallel with all that, we also been able to secure the highest order intake ever. It ended at 174 million Swedish krona, which is a record for JLT. If you break that down, I can see 3 large orders and then a long tail of small to medium-sized orders. The 3 large orders were, 2 of them went to one of North America's largest transportation companies. They were worth 11 plus 12 million Swedish krona. And we also won a big strategic order at the European machine manufacturers within agriculture, and that order was worth 12 million Swedish krona. We see the drivers behind this increased order intake being 2 things. One is an increased demand and our ability to reach new customers. And the other part is that some customers have chosen to put in their orders earlier than what they usually would do in order to secure delivery among the challenges that we have with the global component shortages, basically. So I mentioned the global component shortage. It has been a big challenge, but I must say that by being very proactive and somewhat aggressive in our component purchases, we've been able to manage delivery and our commitments to our customers fairly good. I would say overall we've been fairly successful with that. But what has happened is that the acquisition costs, the acquisition of components, have increased, which in the end will impact our gross profit and gross margins. If we look at the financial statement for 2021, order intake was 174 million Swedish krona compared to 116 the year before. That's an increase by over 50% from the challenging year 2020. Net sales ended at 136 million Swedish krona compared to 110. That's an increase by 24% compared to the previous year. The strong order intake resulted in a record high order backlog as well. Previous year we had 17 million. This year we enter with 54 million Swedish kronor booked in our books before we go into the new year. The operating profit ended at 9.5 million Swedish krona compared to 2.1. Gross margin somewhat pressured by the increased component costs, but we had a positive effect by a stronger US dollar in particular at the end of the year. So compared to previous year, it was about the same, 42%, and the previous year was 43%. So despite the pandemic that continued into 2021, the very challenging component shortage and some large investments, we've been able to increase the profit margin. And because of that, the board proposes a dividends of 0.27 Swedish krona, so 27 öre per share. If I look at the first quarter this year, the order intake was 40 million, so continued strong business in the market. This is compared to 28 million the previous year. Net sales was 47 million Swedish krona compared to 29, and the operating profit was 3.2 million Swedish krona compared to 2 million the previous year. The strong net sales, of course, is in large driven by the record high backlog that we entered the quarter with. So sales actually increased by 60% compared to Q1 last year. But what's also positive in my mind is that order intake continued very strongly. 42% compared to the first quarter last year. And I'm glad to see that the strong order intake we had in Q4 last year was not temporarily driven by customers pulling in orders early. It actually continued in the first quarter as well. Gross margin ended at 37%, which is lower than first quarter last year. And I would say that there are two components pushing down or pressuring down the gross margin this quarter. One is the increase in cost in component and acquisition of components, but it's also that the product mix in this quarter is somewhat dominated by the large orders we took previous year. And large orders are typically taken in higher competition, and that impacts the cost or the price of the units and thereby the gross margin. Component shortage is still a challenge. I see that the cost of components will remain high, but the product mix over the year is going to vary from quarter to quarter. We have implemented price increases, but it will take time before we get full effect of those price increases. But we continue to prioritize our delivery capacity over the component cost. To us and to me, it's very important that we, to the largest extent, try to meet the customer demands and the customer expectations. So that's why we will continue with very offensive purchases to ensure delivery capacity as much as we can. Let me talk about three of perhaps the most important key initiatives that are going on at JLT right now. The first one is the acquisition of our French sales partner IDwork and the establishment of JLT France. I will also talk about the launch of the new Android-based computer, JLT 6012A, and I will talk about the startup of our JLT Software Solutions company. If we start with the new French sales office, so the acquisition of IDwork, who has been a JLT sales partner for many years, was completed in January of this year. And when that was done, we renamed that to JLT Mobile Computers France, SAS. And the objective with this, of course, is to strengthening our position on the French market and expanding our presence and our effort and support for the sales for the French sales partners and customers. All shares in IDwork has been acquired, and the purchase price amounted to equity plus 100,000 euros, that is about 1 million Swedish krona, plus 160,000 JLT shares. The resulting goodwill in the group will amount to 2.4 million Swedish krona, and the impact on the cash flow was negative 1 million Swedish krona. So IDwork has been, as I said, a sales partner to JLT since 2013. It was founded by a gentleman called Philippe Bretin, who is really an industry veteran on the French market. And he has helped JLT to build up the French market to become one of the largest markets we have today in Europe. With JLT France, we will take over the established network and of sales partners and the existing business, and together we will continue to manage the business and develop the business on the French market. Philippe will continue as the CEO of the new company, and we have started and initiated recruitments of sales resources, both commercial and technical. In the year, we also launched our new Android-based computer. We call that 6012A. And why is that important? Well, Android holds 85% of the total smartphone market. And because of that, a new generation of workers are entering our industry segments with expectations on ease of use and a certain look and feel of the operating system. It's also seen that many industry customers are starting to use more commercially available or consumer-based handheld units. And this is driving the need for an Android operating system also on the very rugged vehicle mount computers and handheld computers. So Android has been growing as an alternative to Windows in our target industry markets as well. The new computer was launched in September 2021, and together with the Windows sibling, it creates a platform for new solutions that we are building. The new products includes technology and sensors that will be the basis for a lot of the software solutions that we are developing as well. The product is now up and running at several customers, and we have delivered the first units, as I said, to customers, and product production is going on right now. So this positions JLT well on the growing Android market, and right now we are continuing to develop our Android solution, both the infrastructure around that and future software solutions. At the beginning of last year, we also established what we call JLT Software Solutions. And the purpose with this is really to accelerate our services base and to increase the component of services in our complete offering. So the company was established in March 2021, and it must be seen as a strategic long-term investment that will complement our range of hardware products and gradually expand our sources of revenue. It will also allow us to differentiate our solution over other competing hardware solutions on the market. So the team is now developing both what we call installed software, which are software products that comes on the computer or pre-installed on the computer, and as well cloud-based services, which are software solutions where you can hook up all your computers in your fleet and get an overview in some sort of a dashboard that will help the IT manager, for example. So these softwares will be sold as software as a service solution. And the purpose, again, for the customer is to create more efficient workflows, minimize downtime, and increase the safety. The first product releases are going to happen this year, and we have already started pilot programs with customers and starting to engage our software solutions in the operation of those customers. So in summary, the year 2021 was a very eventful year with record high order intake. I'm very proud that we were able to focus on our key strategic initiatives, like the acquisition of ID Work on the French market and the establishment of JLT France, the launch of the new Android computer, JLT 6012A, and the startup of JLT Software Solutions. At the same time, we had an extremely good year from a business point of view, and I would say that in particular the US market has really done a fantastic job this year, or last year, that puts us in a very good position in terms of 2022. We have a record-breaking order backlog. However, the component shortage is a challenge. We've been able to manage so far, but it will continue to be a big challenge for this year as well. However, at the same time, we know that the component shortage will eventually end and will be easier for us in the industry. So it's important to me that we continue to invest in our key strategies, and so we will do. We will support the newly launched products that we have in the market, and there are more products coming out this year. We will continue to build our presence on the French market with JLT France and to build a portfolio of software solutions through JLT Software Solutions. And I'm very excited to see that the whole organization is very committed and very driven to make this happen. So thank you for listening to this presentation. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to contact me either by email or by telephone. And my contact information is on the investor relations pages on our home site. Thank you very much. Bye.